Many of us have walked past a street artist or musician and didn't pay any attention. This specific musician was ignored by nearly everyone when he started playing on the city square. But when a little boy decided to watch him and gave him some money, the man did something that shocked everyone. This musician looked like a drifter who had traveled for several days straight. He was wearing shabby clothes and had tired eyes. On the other hand, the music he was playing on his violin was unique and truly touching, but it was not enough to make people stop and appreciate it. People were confused by the contrast of his appearance with the beautiful music coming from his instrument. This city square in Germany was infamous for the many homeless people and street artists that would dominate the place on a sunny day. The square was one of the most touristic places in the city, and some people with dubious intentions tried to take advantage of that. On one occasion, a fight broke out between three street musicians on the same square, so the locals didn't want any other musician to cause trouble and drive away the tourists. When this mysterious street musician was setting up to start playing his string instrument, some of the locals came up to him and warned him against playing. "No one wants you here, pal. We've had enough of you street musicians bringing problems, so go seek your luck somewhere else." With that, the musician came up with a clever idea. He told the locals that he would only play if someone genuinely wanted him to play. He promised he would not play unless someone paid him to do it. Until then, he would remain completely frozen and bother nobody. The locals laughed and agreed because they were sure that nobody was in the mood for street music, although they would soon be proven wrong in a fantastic way. As promised, the street musician remained completely still, and pretty much everyone that walked by was confused by his strange behavior. Still, no one in the square was excited to hear some second-rate music from a street musician. They would rather listen to the music on their phones. Everyone ignored him, and the man started to lose faith in his plan, seeing a lot of people walking past with earphones, not even looking at him. They were all enjoying music on their earphones, but nobody had yet asked him to play any music, which was almost making him give up. "What if the locals had been right, and nobody wants to hear my music?" he thought. That was not what he had been expecting when he decided to go to the square in the first place, but things would take a different turn very soon. Nobody knew that the street musician was actually a very talented classical musician from the German Symphony Orchestra Berlin, a local symphony orchestra that is known all around the world for its amazing renditions of classical compositions. Even though this man was showing how talented he had planned to share some music with the world for a few cents, because he thought he would meet different people that liked his music to have a nice conversation with. He had decided to do that in a fun way, so he wore some old clothes to see if someone would notice his talents, even though he looked like a person who lived on the street. But it wasn't as fun as he imagined. Nobody showed any interest in what he was offering. The musician had been standing there for quite a while, yet nobody had asked him to play anything, and he was still frozen in the same spot, looking more like a living statue than a street musician. "I'll wait just 15 more minutes, he said to himself. That's the amount of time he was going to remain there. If nothing happened, he would give up. Maybe the locals had been right. But then everything changed. In the middle of that distracted crowd, there was one person really excited to hear him play his string instrument. Aidan, a 4-year-old boy from Ireland, had been visiting the city with his parents. They were enjoying their lunch on the square when his eyes fell on the roughly dressed street musician. He was amazed and asked his parents if he could give the man a coin. But Aidan's parents told him that they were not going to give any money to the street musician. "No, Aidan, that's a waste of money. This trip has been expensive enough." Aidan was extremely frustrated and turned away from his parents so they could not see the tears in his eyes. But then he saw something shining on the street, not far from where they were. Aiden and his parents had been sitting on a bench, enjoying their homemade sandwiches, when Aiden turned away from his parents after they denied his request. He walked in the direction of the shining thing, and as he got closer, he realized it was a coin. In his innocent eyes, that coin was a fortune, and his parents were busy looking around the square, not noticing what their son was up to. So Aiden was able to get the coin on the ground. The little boy held the coin firmly in his fist as he walked towards the musician. His parents called after him, but he kept on walking. He started to draw other people's attention, and apparently more people had been waiting to see the musician play, but nobody wanted to be the first to approach him. Aiden dropped the coin in the man's hat, and then everything changed. Like the professional he was, the musician started playing the most beautiful symphonies ever heard, proving to the locals and everyone around that there are people out there that want to hear his music apart from his usual job with the orchestra. He's proven the locals wrong and started off slow with beautiful notes coming off his violin. But that wasn't everything. Everyone that was present at the city square was about to be even more shocked. Out of nowhere, another street musician showed up carrying a cello, and she sat down on a chair next to the first musician and started playing as well. Their music combined so beautifully that some people had tears in their eyes watching that intense performance. Soon, more and more musicians started approaching with other violins, drums, and various instruments, and it looked like an entire orchestra. After a few minutes, a true orchestra was playing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, and there wasn't one person that wasn't looking at them. After that day, it became clear that there are many talented people hiding everywhere, and it takes just a little bit of attention to see the beauty around us, just like Aiden did. If you know any similar stories, write about it in the comments, like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more fantastic stories.